Trying to find my way, 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 trying to find my way. I'm trying to change me.
My faith is in God alone, beyond a reasonable doubt. This brainstorm, pouring rain on your season of drought. Just trying to lay a couple seeds in the mouth. Thanks for listening. You ever get the feeling you was missing?
What up, y'all? It's your hometown hero, Scott Lane, the Black Bruce Wayne, a.k.a. the real Adam Coleman. So, you riding with Tru-ID. And we are back. And I know I got a lot of explaining to do, man. I know I got a lot of explaining to do. It's been like a month and a half since we dropped the podcast. So much has been going on, and we'll definitely get into that. If not this episode or next episode. So much is going on, y'all. A lot of good things. Expanding the ministry from podcasts to YouTube to a lot of other things I got coming down the pike. So I'll probably get into that next episode. A lot of big things going on, man. A lot of big things going on. But actually, big things are happening just beyond me specifically, though. This past weekend, we witnessed urban apologetics history, which is basically like our Super Bowl of urban apologetics. Thus far, we had a debate between Dr. Vince Bantu and Brother Jabari, who's a very popular, very well-known conscious community person who represents the Kemetic science and whatnot, that brand of spiritual life. We'll get into all that in a second. But first and foremost, I want to introduce the guests that I have with me. We're going to be breaking down the debate a little bit, our initial thoughts, and announcing some things we're going to be doing within the next week or so. Bring my man in, the BK apologist, Alfredo Valentin. What's happening, brother?
What's going on? What's popping? What's going on, sir?
Doing good, man. Doing good. That's like the signature BK apologist thing, right? The year is it? I don't.
It's become that. It's a New York thing. I'm the BK apologist. I'm a native New Yorker, so I think it's only right that I give you the cultural greeting of the five boroughs.
Right. So, is that five boroughs wide, or is it more so just BK? What's up with that?
No, it's New York. It's New York.
It's New York.
All five boroughs. We all do it. Especially like if we had a focus, it would be Brooklyn and the Bronx. You hear that more than the other boroughs, but it's definitely New York there.
Okay, got you. So if you start like a BK apologist like squad, is it required that everybody wear Timbs? You know what I'm saying? Like, basically, is there a required reading? Yes. Like, are we required to wear? Is there like some required reading that we had to be up on? Like, you got to be official. Like,
Timberlands, you got to have the original pressing of Illmatic. You know what I mean? You got to have the wax, not the CD. You got to have all the color do rags, kind of like the Infinity Gauntlets. You got to have those colors, right. And a couple of Yankee fitteds, and
He said it's like the Infinity Gauntlet, bro. You gotta have the different do-rags, bro. That's hilarious, man. That's hilarious. Well, I tell you what, man, you've been on the show before, man, and we got a lot of great feedback from the last time you was on here, man. And I would encourage people to go back and check that episode out. I'll definitely put the link to it in the description. But since then, bro, you've been real active, man. You've been really active out here, putting out more content under the BK Apologist label. Just tell the folks what you've been up to, man. What have you been up to? Expanding what you do and what you're bringing to the table as far as apologetics.
Yeah, I'm just trying to catch up with you guys, and just really learning behind the scenes and just slowly emerging. So I definitely have the BK Apologist YouTube channel. I have the BK Apologist Instagram, BK Apologist Twitter. Mm-hmm. I have a page. It says Alfredo Valentin, but when you go into the page, it says BK Apologist. I've been selling my own brand of T-shirts that I feel like a very specific niche within our community, and that you catch that in T Public Tranquil. Mm-hmm. That's 2 L's, Tranquil. And guys have been opening a lot of lanes. I've been allowed to really speak more often at my church, and just using that material and putting that as well on my different platforms, and really just expanding my digital ministry, and it's been pretty good so far, So.
That's awesome, man. And I think it's so important because, really, when it comes to the kinds of worldviews that we're engaging, a lot of them are centered around New York, or at least or have been at some point. So it's almost like sacrilege for us to even be doing, urban apologetics without having a representative in the mecca of all of these, these different worldviews, man. I mean, 125th is like holy ground, man. You know what I'm saying? You right there able to access it and have an impact. So, I just think it's dope what you're doing, man. I mean, we talked about it some time ago. Right. And I see you been putting some feet to it, which I think is just phenomenal. You know what I mean? But
thanks, I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So let's talk about this debate, man. Let's talk about this debate. We oh man, it had been a long time coming. With this debate taking shape, and 1 minute it was on, another minute it wasn't on. But a lot of people don't know. We haven't actually spoken on this. This actually is going to be my first time speaking on it publicly. But we actually took a pretty I'll just say, we had a role to play, in the this debate coming about. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I guess we could finally let the cat out the bag, right?
Right.
Well, first of all, I just want to thank you for reaching out to me, for even thinking of me that I can actually even help with the debate, and also shout out to our sister, Nestor Nitty,
for
also helping as well. You know what I mean? So basically, what we was, now of course, Dr. Bantu is a top tier scholar, so it's not like I'm helping him learn stuff. But we definitely were the tacticians, and just developing different types of strategy, when it comes to debate. Basically, we were the custom model to his Mike Tyson. I think that'd be the best way to put it. So
yeah, definitely.
We definitely were behind the scenes. Yeah.
Yep. It was So myself, it was dope working with you, on the research team. Nefer Nitty, shout out to Matthew Jackson out there. He's got a YouTube channel as well. People can subscribe to that. Brother Berean was on the squad. Faithful to God, LaRon Campbell, aka G-Con.
My man CMB last minute came in.
Yeah, he did. Yep, sure it is. CMB, Colin Ambassador. Shout out to him. My man Don Carey, all of us were kind of keeping it under wraps. You know what I mean? Throughout our time, working on the research team, because we didn't want to be like all out about it. And then these guys do reconnaissance. I mean, they do internet recon. And we didn't want to let anything out of the bag prior to the debate. But I thought it was dope because just honestly for me, I think what was really rewarding is seeing. Some of what we talked about with Bantu, like coming out on stage, like during the debate, why don't you go ahead and share, some of the things that you put on the table, in our discussions with Bantu. We had a conference call with them, like a week beforehand, and we're able to go over some dope points. Talk a little bit about that, because actually I think that the things that you share with Bantu, are actually, tactics that are helpful, with any apologist or anybody who's out here, doing this work, man. Talk a little bit about that.
All right, cool. Well, thank you. Basically, what I was advising Bantu was, for each round, you have.
Hey, Fredo, my fault, man. You sound kind of muffled. It sounds like something changed.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Okay. So, so basically, what we advise Dr. Bantu for is to frame each topic, very easily for the crowd to understand, and what the objective of every topic was, And one of the things you have to do is define terms. If we're talking about a particular subject matter, well, what is that subject matter? When we're talking about, is Christianity the white man's religion? It's like, well, what's Christianity? Right? We have to define that term. Okay, if you're talking about white people, well, what do you mean by white people? So that there's no misunderstanding about what we're talking about, so that no one's talking past each other. So the audience knows exactly what to expect. We also talked about, just making sure that, you don't run after, any kind of red herrings, rabbit trails, any kind of deflections. If your opponent wants to put a straw man on you, meaning that they want to represent you in a different way than what you are representing yourself, not to allow that to happen. If he strays off topic, call him out on that. Keep him honest on the topic, and things like that. You know, and be consistent with that for each round. And I feel like that was pretty effective.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. I was, I guess we were like a cut man, you know what I'm saying? You were kind of assistant to the legend, man. Bantu, I tell you what, man, a lot of people don't realize, like, Bantu is a genius level dude for real, yo. Like, he's a very bright guy. I mean, he really could do, like, everything he did in the debate. Like, he honestly, I've seen him do stuff like that, like, off the dome. You know what I'm saying? Like, just, you know, you give him a topic that's in his wheelhouse, and he just goes for it, man. And it was just really dope, you know, to see that, you know, and it was cool interacting with them, you know, beforehand, and you know, being able to have that dialogue and whatnot. But yeah, man, what do you think about, like, it's crazy because, like, for me, you know, I kind of, I had heard about this, you know, this debate was supposed to be going down like over a year ago. You know what I'm saying? Like when it first started developing, what a lot of people don't realize, it's funny. I think I can say this now, but you know, back in, you know, at least a year and a half ago, there was a conference call with Chris Broussard, Eric Mason, I believe Jabari was on that call, Side Netter, and a couple other people from their side. And it was really kind of like the first meeting of the minds, if you will, on, you know, with both of those camps. And, you know, I heard through the grapevine, you know what I'm saying, that in that call, I believe Jerome Gay was on there as well. But I think on that call, like, it really became apparent to the other side that, wait a minute, like Christians is not, like, these aren't just a bunch of dumb ministers over here. Like, this is, we dealing with a whole different breed, you know what I'm saying? And this is not, you know, somebody who can be, these folks can't be slept on, you know what I'm saying? So I think that phone call kind of really opened their eyes, like, well, wait a minute, if we're going to do this debate, this might be something serious, you know what I'm saying? So as it matures, man, as it matured, and, you know, a lot of logistical problems, you know, back and forth, and whether it's going to go down or not, and, you know, getting things together with that. I mean, fortunately, I believe by God's hand, you know, it finally came together, you know, but I think that out of the, you know, like from my perspective, I really feel like that showed out the fact that, hey, man, like, this is a new era. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not, you know, the time period where cats can just talk slick about Christianity, and we don't have no scholarship. We don't have no, you know, firepower to shoot back. You know what I'm saying? Like, we in a whole different ball game now. And I really got that feeling, you know, when I was at the debate. It just felt like, okay, this is not just a one-off type of a thing. This is a real big step for the movement. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. I mean, I think both of us, you know, in the past, we'll watch certain videos, and, you know, they would pick, you know, people who were believers, but just weren't really fully equipped to go through the gauntlet, through the conscious community, you know. And you would see these videos and you would think, man, if we just had so-and-so, or if we just had somebody that's just far more qualified. And it's finally happened with Bantu. You know, we finally have somebody who's thoroughly equipped to deal with the subject matter, and it finally came to fruition. And, you know, I just can't wait for everybody to see the work that Dr. Bantu put in, so that he can equip the saints better. So when these individuals now, when they have their conversations or their blog posts or Facebook, they now have, you know, information that they can use now to defend the faith that much more, you know, effectively. So,
yeah, man, and it was dope because, you know, when we were in the building, man, we were up there in Philly at Epiphany Church. Shout out to Pastor Eric Mason and Chris Broussard for putting it on there, man. And you know, like, for me, in Tru-ID fashion, you know, I showed up like 5 minutes late. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, I mean, I was
like,
coming.
Where is this dude, man?
It's terrible, man. Like, you know, I mean, to be, I was coming from Virginia, man, and we barely, we almost missed a segment of it, but we was in place. You know what I'm saying? By the time things popped off, but you know, I get there, man, and it was just like, I don't know, man. It's just the whole atmosphere felt like, you know, just very comfortable to me. You know what I'm saying? It didn't feel like there was a whole lot of pressure. Now, granted, I'm not Bantu. I wasn't the one who was in the hot seat, so I guess it's easy for me to say. But, you know, when I just interacted with the different believers that was there, man, it was a great turnout. I mean, I think we ended up having, you know, definitely over like 300 some folks, man. You know, we definitely packed the place out. Yeah. And it just felt like, everybody was kind of feeling like, yeah, like, you know, like we in here. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like pins and needles necessarily. I mean, did you kind of get that vibe or?
I mean, yeah, it was definitely like a sense of relief, right? Because it's like we've been wanting this platform for so long, and we finally got it. You know, two people who are well respected in both the communities on the same stage. You know, and it was just, you know, the planets aligned. Like this was it, and I think everybody felt that like we're here. It finally happened. Let's go. You know?
Yeah, that's the vibe I got, man. And I mean, it was a diverse crowd. You know, it was a diverse crowd. I mean, obviously, it was a lot of believers there, but you could tell, you know, based upon, you know, the way, you know, certain folks were dressed and things of that nature.
Right.
You know, that you had people from different, you know, backgrounds or you know, different aspects of the conscious community. Definitely, obviously, you're gonna have some comedics there. But yeah, I definitely saw some familiar faces. You know, if you watch Sinetta at all, or any of those shows, man, I definitely saw some familiar faces. Like Captain Tazariak was in the building. You know what I'm saying? Saw him out there. You know, kicked it with him a little bit. That was interesting. Maybe I'll get back to that in a little while. But you know, also, you know, Jabari brought his people. A lot of people may not know, but there's a gentleman named Baba Haru who is like his. Like brother Jabari's OG mentor, you know what I'm saying? And it was interesting you know, seeing him in the building along with Jabari's wife and whatnot. So just like some familiar faces from the conscious community definitely showed up, you know what I mean? And yeah, I thought that was definitely interesting, you know? Yeah,
absolutely. And also from the Christian side, you know, it's like it's the first time I was in the same room with Brother Berean, you know, finally, you know.
Oh yeah, okay, I didn't know that. Finally, okay.
Yeah, that's the first time.
Okay.
First time. I mean, we've done things online, but that's the first time we've ever been like in the same room. First time I met Chris Broussard, he was definitely super cool, down to earth. You know, Eric Mason, you know, he made me feel very much at home. Jerome Gay, you know what I mean? He's amazing preacher in his own right. You know what I mean? We got to chop it up for a minute. And it was finally, you know, I see these guys all the time online, and to finally, you know, face to face, you know, it was definitely an honor and privilege for me. You know?
Yeah, man. And also, you know, me being a member of the King Movement as well, man, it was dope seeing the King brothers out there. Obviously, King Movement is a organization headed up by Chris Broussard, you know, who sponsored this event as well. So it was dope seeing that.
Yo, Chris, I need some World Series tickets, man. I know you the plug. What's good? What's good? You know New York is in it, so you know what I mean. So holler at your boy.
Yeah, man. I'm sure you can make that happen, man. Definitely think we can make that happen, bro. But yeah, it was just dope, man. Like being in the building, and I mean, for somebody like myself, who, man, shoot, I'm new at this apologetics game, man. You know what I'm saying? It's I feel
You're
like
not new. You're not new. Stop it.
No, seriously. I'm not even being funny, man. Like, you know, I feel like we have so far to go. We have so much work to do. Like, you know, I'm
well,
really, like, we just getting started. You know what I mean? I feel like this movement is new, and you know, I'm kind of just, you know, getting started as well. Yeah. I wasn't trying to. That wasn't like a corny setup for you to give me like accolades or something like that. You know, people go think like, man, this guy. Humble brag, but nah, for real, man. I really feel like, you know, this is just the beginning. So it's like, you know, when I first started doing,
you're right.
Yeah. You know, when I first started doing the show, I mean, definitely, you know, nothing like this event was on the table, you know, and we had a few outlets, folks who were out here getting it, you know, urban apologetics, and it's just cool to see where it's come from then till now. And the crazy part about it is, as big as this is, I mean, we still have thousands upon thousands of, you know, pastors and church folks who don't know about, you know, what we're doing out here. So we definitely got to sound the alarm. And I felt like this is going to be maybe a first step towards really waking the church up. You know what I'm saying? And say, hey, you know, this is something that y'all need to be paying attention to. These are the kinds of I mean, maybe not necessarily having debates, but, you know, definitely equipping your people to be prepared for these kind of things. So it's like, it really was, I guess for me, it was kind of like, you know, man, it's crazy how far we've come, but then it was just, you know, how far we have to go as well. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of work to be done, man. A lot of souls out there that we still need to touch, man.
Right. But I mean, this is, you know, part and parcel of the Christian journey. You know, when you look at it throughout history, people have constantly challenged the Christian worldview, you know, and because of that challenge, it caused us to dig deeper and to become more academic and more, you know, just well-read so that we can give a proper apologetic, a proper defense.
Sure,
we're not the first apologists. We're not the first apologists. You know what I mean? It's like these guys will defend the faith from day one.
Sure.
And it forces us to sharpen our swords and just be better, ambassadors for Christ. So it's good that we have this. It's good that we have this adversarial elements coming at our faith, because it makes us, one, rely on God more, right? But also deepens our faith and our conviction about the life that we live through Christ. So
hey, man, that's great, man. That's great, bro. Definitely. So, talk about the debate itself, man. Let's get into that a little bit. We'll give our initial impressions, and then we'll talk about what you and I we're going to be breaking down over the next couple of days. Sure. But so the main debate topics were, you had Dr. Vince Bantu against Brother Jabari, and they debated three topics. The first one was, is Christianity the white man's religion? The second one was, is Christianity a copy of pagan myths? And then the third one was Christianity versus Kemet. Which one has the solution for the black community? Right. Those are your three main topics there. What were your thoughts about just the structure of the debate and kind of the topics at hand? Like, what were you kind of coming into it? What were your thoughts about that overall?
It was a proper debate. A lot of times, what you see on YouTube and on Facebook aren't proper debates. It's WWE, cage match type of vibe. But we had the right platform with the correct parameters, so these two individuals can express their worldviews in a way that was vigorous, right? But at the same time, civil. I think that was so important, and that's why this debate is so legendary, because we finally had that talk that we needed to have, but it was done with adults being mature on stage, and having the format with I think it was 20 minutes, right? For your presentation with the 10-minute rebuttals, which is basic standard fare for your debate. But unfortunately, within our community, we don't get to see that structure and order, and we got that this past Saturday, and that's amazing. Absolutely. That was an amazing thing to see.
Absolutely, man. And actually, hats off to Brother Jabari, man. I think so often it's there's that temptation, I think, to treat individuals like him like they're the enemy. And while when you're in a debate, it's you're trying to take the other guy's head off. Like it's not no fun and games. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I can definitely acknowledge that he conducted himself well, man. I think Jabari was the right opponent to spark off these kinds of debates, because he definitely not just in this debate, but and any time I've seen him, I feel like he presents himself with an air of respect. And he looks to bring some scholarship to the table. Like, he's not just trying to get cheap jabs in. Now, he did throw a couple jabs in there. I think specifically in round 2, he did try take a couple swings, I think, below the belt. But but for the most part, it felt like he was just trying to go information for information, which you definitely can't hate on that. What I'm saying?
No, he's definitely a very well-polished individual. It clearly, this was not his first time at the rodeo. He's done this before.
Right.
And, his articulation, his ability to play with the crowd, very comfortable on stage, which makes him a vulnerable opponent, So,
yeah, I agree.
And, and he's a generally, nice person to talk to. I've been personally to the man's house. He's very hospitable.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like you can have a cup of tea with this guy and actually have a good time with him. He's a grown up. Yeah. We definitely have different worldviews, but we can talk about it without it going crazy, and that's what makes him, in my opinion, qualified for this type of event.
Yeah, I totally agree, man. I think if anybody who's out there who wants to, maybe hop in the next one, and I'm sure, and I'll just say I'm very sure there will be more events to come. I'll just put it that way. I'm very, very sure there'll be more events, but I'll just leave it at that. But anybody who wants to, come at it from their side or our side. I mean, that's the way that you want to be. I mean, you want to make sure that you come correct. I mean, you can have some spice to you. You know what I'm saying? But, definitely,
sure. Absolutely.
operating with dignity and whatnot, man. And I think that's dope. Now, I think, I'm just being honest. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of letting my hair down a little bit, and, thinking about the debate. One thing about debating, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not a professional debater. I mean, I'm just speaking by observation. But, the questions, how they're worded, makes all the difference about how the debate is going to go. You can win or lose a debate depending upon how the question is worded. You know what I'm saying? Right. And that's always so crucial, man. And I think that one of the things that I liked about the debate was the fact that I felt like each of those questions were core issues that are of concern, to people in the conscious community. I mean, like, is Christianity the white man's religion? I mean, it doesn't get any more fundamental than that, when it comes to urban apologetics. Obviously, given the fact that you have Jabari, who's a Kemetic, he refers to himself as a Kemetic high priest. So he is obviously going to be interested in, is Christianity a copy, or that kind of thing. And then of course, which belief system or spiritual system is best for our community. Those are three fundamental issues. You know what I'm saying? I would have liked to have seen the questions worded in such a way that would put Jabari on the defense more. I would have liked to have seen that. You know what I'm saying? I felt like he, was able to kind of play counterpuncher, throughout much of the debate. And I would have liked to seen, his worldview, the Kemetic worldview, held to the fire more. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing I would, if we were to do the next one, I would like to see him really stand on his square, you know what I'm saying, and be on defense for a little while. But, just in terms of my initial impressions, I think that's one thing that people will see. Now, with that being said, I mean, Bantu is pretty much, then going in the lion's den. Like, a lot of people don't understand that even though this event was at a church, and in a sense you have home field advantage, at the same time, Bantu is also at a disadvantage, given the fact that he's got to defend all 3 rounds. He's on the defense all 3 rounds. You know what I'm saying? And that's not really ideal for a debate type of situation. You know what I mean? So I know that, some people from their side would want to say, oh man, well, y'all was in y'all crib, so that's what it was. But yeah, I mean, that's true in terms of the setting. I mean, it was familiar territory. I mean, he was in the church, but at the same time, in terms of the content of the debate and in terms of the questions that were being asked, I felt like really the pressure was on Bantu, more so than it was on Jabari. I mean, did you kind of sense that, or like, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, yeah, because not specifically for Dr. Bantu, but for Christians at large, right? Because, like you said, these are core questions. These are the subject matter that comes up by the bodega and the barbershops throughout the urban landscape. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And for a lot of us, unfortunately, we don't have the right resources, information to correctly answer these things. So, most of us are living vicariously through Bantu throughout the debate. Because for a lot of people, we're looking at him to, how do we answer these things? You know? Mm-hmm. So he was actually kind of creating an apologetic for all of us, right? That's a lot of pressure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true.
I'm gonna make this format so that all my Christian brothers and sisters can use when they have their conversations. And he's basically creating this template. That's a lot of pressure for one man.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yep, it is, man. And I think it's interesting. Maybe we can get into a little bit of the rounds, and actually, maybe we can say it right now. One of the things that you and I plan on doing is when they drop the debate footage, you and I are going to be going round by round, breaking down, play by play, so to speak. What happened during the debate, and so people can definitely be looking for. We're going to be doing that live. I'm saying, I mean, we're doing this podcast here, but we're going to be doing that live on either YouTube or Facebook. Probably YouTube, my YouTube channel. So make sure y'all subscribe to my Tru-ID YouTube page, and also BK. Is it BK Apologist on YouTube or?
Yes, sir. BK Apologist. Yeah.
Okay, BK Apologist on YouTube, because what we're going to do is we're going to be going round by round, And I think we'll probably do the first 2 rounds. We'll break down on my YouTube page, and we'll definitely show your page some love. Hop on over there and do the final one there, so that people can definitely subscribe to you as well on that. But just in terms of just some initial thoughts, man. I mean, like let me ask you this. It's kind of just throw a little curveball. Was there anything that caught you by surprise? Whether it be coming from Jabari or Bantu, is there anything that maybe caught you by surprise in terms of what they brought to the debate?
Wow, a couple of things. A welcome surprise was, Bantu just being very fiery at times.
Right.
We tout him as the scholar, right? But he's a man too. You know what I mean? And it's like, he's a man who has deep convictions about his faith, and he wasn't scared to express that.
Right.
So he was, he put, you got to put some respect on his name that he's going in at times. It's like he's really, I'm about Jesus. What's good,
Right.
I feel like even if you don't agree with Christianity, you gotta love the energy that he was putting out. What else?
He's so laid back all the time too. That really took me by surprise. Like, he's so laid back.
Right, I didn't see that.
When he was throwing jabs, I was like, okay, Bantu, all right, brother. He got a little
I was
spice to him.
That. Right.
Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah, a little spicy.
I like, to be honest with you, and I don't want to let too much out of it, but I mean, I want to say it was in the second round. For whatever reason, your boy Jabari seemed to be allergic to using citations. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
he was he's getting. I'm being funny. He was getting a little thin. I'll put it that way. I won't say he didn't use any, but he was getting a little thin in terms of his use of citations. And I expected Bantu to call him out, but he really. I'm not saying he went in on him. You know what I'm saying? But he called him out sharply. I'll put it that way. And I didn't see that coming. I didn't think he would be the kind of guy to take that jab. But I felt like it was appropriate though. I'm saying to hold, because in a debate, you want to hold the other side accountable. You know what I'm saying? When they're slipping, then you got to pick up on that and hold them. That's part of the debate. So that was cool to see. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, another thing, and I'm not gonna get into it. I'm gonna wait until we actually do the breakdowns. But there was a slight disruption during the debate. Right? I found that very interesting. I'll leave it at that. Right. There was some things that I felt like could have been addressed, but I feel like Bantu kind of let go. But if he wanted to, he really could have, went at it. So I found that interesting as well.
I know we want to let that slide, but let's talk about this disruption though. Let's go a little bit. I want you to break down what the disruption is, man. Like we can get more into it on our live, but let's, because I feel like it was an important issue though. I feel like, and there's somewhere I want to go with that, but you want to tell them, or you want me to tell them? Or
I'll tell them. All
right, go ahead.
That I forgot. I think did it happen in the second or third round?
Well, I think of two. I can think of two instances, but at least, I think it was second round and third, I want to say.
Well, basically, Baba Heru, Jabari's spiritual elder, kind of disrupted the debate a little bit. He was complaining about the fact that Dr. Bantu kept referring to Kemet as Egypt, and he took umbrage of that terminology, and he decided to yell out that he was very offended that they were calling it Egypt as opposed to its indigenous, name of Kemet. So yeah,
he's pretty hot. You know what I'm saying? He's pretty hot about it, man. I mean, he was very. I mean, because actually Bantu was speaking at the time. You know what I'm saying? He was into, I think, the rebuttal point, and Baba Haru cut him off. I mean, he was sitting in the front row and raised his voice, cut Bantu off like in the middle of what he was doing, and basically tried to chastise him, for using the term Egypt, and also he said don't refer to Jesus. His name is Yeshua, so he was upset about that as well. Apparently, and so he attempted to light into Bantu, and there was another instance, and there was basically similar to that right there, but it was definitely uncomfortable, I think, for folks who are there, because it's like you have a gentleman that you don't want to disrespect him. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to, but at the same time, this is a formal debate, and you just can't have that sort of thing. And I just want to give a shout out to Eric Mason. You know what I'm saying? Because
he kept it classy. He kept it classy.
He kept it classy, and he showed a lot of grace. You know what I'm saying? He showed a lot of grace with that situation. I know Eric Mason, I feel like I know him pretty well. I think I can say that now, and he ain't no punk. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not the kind of dude.
Far from it.
He's no soft. He's not soft like at all, man. He's a man's man. And I felt like in that instance, he, gracefully, I guess, I won't say corrected, you know what I'm saying? Because he probably wouldn't use that term himself, but he gracefully engaged that situation in a way that he communicated what the expectations were, and he showed love at the same time. I felt like it was a really great moment because actually, and I'll just go ahead and say it, actually what happens at one point as Mason is dealing with that behavior there, he talks about how in the scriptures, we're encouraged to correct our elders or engage our elders as a father. You know what I'm saying? And he points out that it's not just specific to those who are in the faith. And he explains that that's why he's not going to just spaz out and on Baba Haru, but just kind of lovingly engage him on that. And I thought that was a great point in the debate because so often people in the conscious community have this idea that we are whitewashed, you know what I'm saying, and just totally enamored in the Western world that certain values like respecting your elders, respecting the community, respecting traditions, like is it we just kind of cast those off. And I thought that it was dope that Mason was able to communicate through the biblical worldview how we aren't just these kind of transplants into the Western world that just do everything that other communities do. No, we still have these old time values of respecting your elders. And I felt that was a good kind of bridge moment where people could see that. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it was a great exercise of the Christian faith in real time. Mm-hmm. It was almost as if it was a teaching. It was a teaching moment. It's like, this is what we mean when we say we follow Christ. Look,
right?
You know what I mean? Like, so in a weird way, Baba Hayward kind of gave us the alley-oop. Like you gave us a reason to show you. Here's a reason why we say this is the correct worldview. For example, you know what I mean? And I feel like Mr. Mason truly kept it classy. He kept it scriptural, and he gave them a real time example of what we mean when we say we follow Christ.
Right. And I almost felt like even though that wasn't a part of the official debate, I mean, to me it seemed to. I think at very least, for communities that aren't, familiar with how we get down, I felt like that was a good showing. You know what I'm saying? Of like, dag, these folks are not, maybe what we thought they were. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was, I thought that was real dope, man. I thought, shout out to Eric Mason on that joint. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But yeah, man, what about from Jabari? Was there anything that kind of took you by surprise? I mean, from him?
I don't want to say much. I really want to reserve for the breakdowns.
Okay, all right.
I really want to reserve for the breakdowns because, I mean, it's what he did. I expected him to do.
Yeah.
Like I actually was not taken aback by anything that he did. I mean, there was. Well, you know what? No, let me take that back.
Okay.
There was a few moments where I felt like he wasn't very appreciative of the audience.
Okay.
There was a few moments where I feel like, you know what I mean? But besides that, he basically did what I expected him to do.
When you say he wasn't appreciative of the audience, like, what do you mean? That's interesting. Like how so?
Well, you see, you want me to sort of see. You see, you're a funny guy.
Oh, no, not for real. I mean, no, I really don't. Yeah, I'm just free flowing. I'm just free flowing. I'm really interested. Like, what you mean by that?
No, I mean, I just felt like, there's a couple times where he would be a little bit condescending to the audience.
Ah, okay.
Okay. And I feel like, we paid to see both of you. You know what I mean? So for you to kind of give that vibe, I don't think that was really cool. Now, it was fleeting. He did it maybe once or twice.
Okay.
But it stuck with me. You know what I mean? It stuck
very
with
interesting.
Me. But, I don't think you should. And we'll see some of that, during the breakdowns. So
Right. One thing I'm excited about too is actually, you mentioned a minute ago how Bantu was in some ways, giving us a framework, to work from, I think as apologists, and people who are defending the faith. And I really think that came out in the second round. I want people to be able to see it for themselves. But the angle that he took to the question, is Christianity a copy from Kemet? Like, I totally didn't see him taking that angle. You know what I'm saying? Normally,
yeah, me either.
Yeah. Normally, we give like defenses such as kind of debunking the just pointing out lack of primary sources. For example, when people make correlations between Jesus and Horus, or just like obviously December 25th comes up all the time. Like Jesus was ripped off of Horus because they were both born on December 25th. And we easily debunk that because that's obviously not any part of the actual Christian tradition, you know what I'm saying, or in no part of doctrine anyway. And it's certainly not well evidenced on the Kemetic side either with respect to any primary sources. So, we generally will debunk it that way. But the angle that Bantu took, I just honestly, it took me by surprise. I was intrigued by it. And then I felt like when he kind of brought it together, I was like, oh, okay, word. I mean, to be quite honest, I feel like it might have gone over some people's heads, you know what I'm saying? But not because he did anything wrong. Yeah.
I mean, he actually debunked the question itself.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's like this is a malformed question. Like, this question doesn't even make sense, and here's why. You know what I mean? So that was definitely an interesting angle. Yeah. It was dope though.
Right. It's like, the way he took the approach that he took. Because here's the thing, like all questions, and this is just some as apologists in general, all questions have certain assumptions baked into them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And sometimes, depending on the question, it's the right answer to the question is not to answer the question directly, but to deal with the false notions that are baked into the question. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So, like, for example, and this I'm just being silly here, but, if I ask somebody, if somebody were to ask me, like, have you smoked crack lately? You know what I'm saying? Like, well, I've never smoked crack at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, but when they put like, I'll put it this way, have you smoked crack again today? Or something like that. Well, I've never smoked crack in the first place. So the assumptions of that that's packed into that word again, you put that in the question. I mean, I've got to deal with the assumption. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's I'm being funny, but that's kind of the approach that Bantu took to the question, is Christianity a copy of pagan myth? Like he said, look, like honestly, and I can't really do it justice, which is why I'm glad we're doing the breakdown once this video drops. But essentially, one of his points was that the question itself is off, because at that time in the first century, those folks back then would not have viewed Christianity as being a copy. Like that notion would have been foreign to them. So for us 2,000 years later to impose that idea anachronistically back onto them is just weird. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I think people will see that come out, and I really feel like on the playback it'll be even more clear to folks. You know what I'm saying? At the time I was like, wow, that's like really creative. Like he took his skill set, I felt, and really attacked that question in a way that somebody like myself, I don't have that skill set, so I really wouldn't even thought to go that route. You know what I'm saying? But he really debunked the question itself. I like the way you put that. I thought that was pretty dope.
Yeah.
Definitely. So yeah, man. So so we're sitting there, and the whole time I'm thinking that after the debate it was going to be like a bloodbath. I thought for sure. You know what I'm saying? That, it was going to be like this Royal Rumble of urban apologists.
Well, you try to start it, though. You drew first blood, bro. Let's talk about you for a minute. Let's talk about that Q&A question.
Oh, okay.
Let's talk about that if you want to spill tea.
Oh, it's that.
Listen, everybody. Everybody. I'm going to snitch on Adam real quick. So the debate is over, right? So they open up for Q&A, right? So, Mr. Tru-ID himself, he raises his hand. And what did you ask Jabari, Adam?
All right. Let me give an explanation. Let me explain myself first. You're saying before
what happened?
What happened was no. So what happened was this. Like, so Bantu took a very creative approach. You know what I'm saying? Like I just said to that second question. You know what I'm saying? Now I think that what he wanted to do, and I'm not going to give all of it, but I think what he wanted to do is kind of hold Jabari to that and make Jabari answer the challenges that he put on the table. But meanwhile, Jabari had put some pseudo scholarship on the table. I'm just be honest. You know what I'm saying? When he's drawing these connections between Horus and Jesus, he's bringing up December 25th, and he's bringing up these claims that we know, or I'll just say are certainly became popular, from the YouTube documentary that Zeitgeist documentary. And so I felt like what happened was his Zeitgeist claims didn't get addressed. You know what I'm saying? And that's no slight on anybody. But I felt like it was kind of, hanging out there, and I didn't want him to slide on it. I'm just be honest. I'm saying I didn't want him to get away with it. You know what I mean? And so my thinking was, I was thinking like, okay, look, Eric Mason already laid out that each question can only be like 10 seconds long. So the original question I had was much longer than that. I was really going to go in, you know what I'm saying? But I had to condense what I wanted to say down to 10 seconds. And so I'm thinking like, okay, well, how can I in 10 seconds, basically hold this man's feet to the fire for these false claims that he's made, you know what I mean, and really address this Zeitgeist thing. So I asked him, I said, hey, look, I raised my hand, my question's for Jabari. I said, given that, I can't remember exactly how I worded it. I mean, people will see it on the video, but the gist of it was, given that the weight of scholarship is against you with respect to Jesus' existence. I mean, most people affirm that Jesus existed, and you presented some regurgitated claims from the Zeitgeist movie that has already been debunked. Can you provide some primary source evidence as to support your claim that Jesus was merely a myth? And now
listen. Hold on. So right, I'm sitting like 2 rows, maybe, or half a row in front of Adam, right? So I'm not even looking behind me, right? I just hear his voice. I know it's him talking. And it was such a pointed question, and it was so laser focused. It was almost like he was rehearsing the question. You know what I mean? And I just felt so much heat coming from Adam. I'm like, oh, wow, it's about to be lit. Right. This dude, what happened? And in fact, the whole crowd kind of like, ooh. For real, the whole crowd was like, oh, okay, now it begins, I guess.
Oh, man, I mean,
like, it was, bro, that was serious. Like, you went in, but that was some very poignant 10 seconds I've ever heard in my life. Like, you was, bro.
That was a tough 10 seconds right there, man. And to be honest,
I was waiting all my life for this question. That's kind of how you went in. You know what I mean?
It was funny because I threw in like a thank you at the end of that question, and I didn't mean for it to sound like this.
Trying to clear it up.
So I asked this question about him regurgitating debunked Zeitgeist material. I throw a thank you at the end, thinking that's going to help soften the blow, but I feel like it made it worse. I feel like it made it sound even worse.
No one remembered the thank you part. Trust me. No one remembers that.
Right.
No one remembers that. Everybody remembers the heat. No one remembers the thank you.
Well, it was funny, man. So I asked the question, and I mean, people can judge for themselves. It seemed to me like he started tap dancing. You know what I'm saying? Like it seemed to me. Now I wasn't expecting him to give like some thorough dissertation, or something like that. But I felt like he could have gave, because they were taking about 2 or 3 minutes per question. I felt like he could have, given something, put some meat on the bone for his claims. But he kind of danced around a little bit, and people will see what I'm talking about. But at first he was saying he didn't actually say it, but he implied it. I'm like, yeah, I know you implied it. That's why I brought it up. You know what I'm saying? But I felt like he was kind of dancing around. No, so now the funny thing about it is after the debate, after the Q&A is over and all that kind of stuff, I went up to Jabari because when I asked the question, one of the first things he says is, man, we need to talk. We need to talk. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, cool, that's what's up. We can do that. Right. So I go up to him afterwards, and I went to shake his hand. I mean, it was all love, it was all respect. And at first he starts saying, man, we need to talk, man, we need to talk. I want to get up with you or something like that. So he was still a little salty about it. And I explained to him. I said, look, listen, I only had 10 seconds to ask the question, so it probably came across a little more heated and pointed than I intended it to, because I had to be quick with it. And he said to me, yeah. But you also said that I regurgitated Zeitgeist claims. That the use of the word regurgitated was kind of weighty right there. And all I could say is like, yeah, it kind of was. I mean, I can see that. You know what I mean? But I stand by it though. I wasn't. I didn't mean it to be disrespectful. But you know, I stand by. But it was cool, man. We dapped up afterwards, and I got his information. You know, he wanted to. He wants my info. Actually, I still need to send it to him. I forgot to text it to him. But as a matter of fact, I can spill the beans. I mean, he expressed that he would be willing to come on the Tru-ID podcast. You know what I mean? So I think that'll be that'll be interesting right there. You know what I'm saying?
But just so you understand, if there was going to be a bloodbath, you would have ignited it. I just want you to know. You would have been. It would have been your fault. I just want you to know that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I wasn't trying to spark it off, man, but I was just like, I take this stuff seriously, bro. I'm saying I take this stuff so seriously. Man, I don't mind. I can laugh at myself, and I joke around a lot. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like when it's on, man, it's wartime out here. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like I'm like a warrior diplomat. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how I see myself. And so I want to be diplomatic. But at the same time, sometimes you got to, you know what I mean? You got to throw a couple daggers every now and again. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm with you. Yeah,
that was pretty dope.
I'm just busting your chops, man. It was great. It was a great question. It just, the way it just came out, I'm like, oh, somebody's ready for the smoke. Oh my God.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. But no, but but you're right though, man, because I felt like there was a some relief, you know what I'm saying, like from the crowd, like, you know, when the question was asked, like people came up to me afterwards like, man, that was a great question. I'm glad you asked that, you know. And I think it's and again, it's no fault, and let me clarify, you know, this is not any fault of Bantu's. Like it's not that he didn't do something that he ought to have done. It's the fact that, you know, these guys are never forced to defend their position. You know what I'm saying? They're comfortable. They're accustomed to not defending their position. And I wanted to make sure, you know, that he was in a position where he had to really, step up to the plate. You know what I'm saying? And support his claims. You can't just assert stuff. You know what I mean? And you know, give some halfway, citations and expect it just to take it. You take your word for it. You know what I'm saying? It don't work that way. You know what I'm saying? You really got to stand on your square, man. So that was kind of like my thinking there, man. So, but it was all love though. I mean, it probably won't show up on the tape, but I mean, it was, you know, afterwards, like we dapped up and it was all good. It was definitely all good.
Right.
So I thought
that was
dope,
just funny.
Yeah.
Vocab threw a shot in there too.
Yeah, Vocab, man. I felt like Vocab was worse than me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know. You know,
but he followed. Yeah, it was the same. Yeah, it was the same vibe. It was definitely the same vibe.
Yeah. Oh man, it was funny, man. But I mean, yeah, we kind of were vibing off each other on that one, you know. But you know, like I said, this is the first of many events like this, man. And so, you know, I think that kind of heat is needed. You know what I'm saying? But when it can be, you know, done in a positive environment, that I think that's dope as well. You know what I'm saying? But you know, even some of the aftermath, man, it was interesting. I'm not sure how far I'm gonna go with this, but I spoke to, you know, Captain Desariat for quite a while. You know what I'm saying, and some other folks, you know, out there, and that I think it was really maybe symbolic or just kind of maybe the first fruits, if I could use a Christianese kind of term, or the kind of interactions that I think our community will have with the conscious community. And you know, and this is just a random question. This really just popped in my head just now. But like, what do you see in terms of as the floodgates are now open? You know what I'm saying? Like we plucked at the hornet's nest, and there's going to be more interaction between, you know, the us and them, so to speak. You know. What do you think? Some things that we need to be aware of, or what do you think we need to look out for? What can we expect from that? You think?
Well, definitely more attention. I mean, there's been already attention given to us, but now they're going to have to get more laser focused because now they see that we're presenting actual scholarship. You know, so now they got to do their due diligence now in research to see if they can find something to, you know, defend against what we're showing. Because now they're on the defense. Most of the time, like you said, they're usually in the offense. You know what I mean? So now they're on defense. And that's a place they're not very used to being in. So it's going to be curious to see how they are when it's time for them to defend. Because they'll have a lot of experience because they never had to before.
Never had to. Yeah. Exactly.
There's definitely going to be attention on you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah,
I guess
I've noticed
me
it on
now, too,
Facebook, man.
you know what I mean?
On Facebook already, I'm starting to see friend requests from people with names that are they're clearly from the conscious community, which I'm cool with that. I'm good with it, you know.
Right, right.
Yeah. So that's just part of the game. So I'm actually excited about that. But you as well, though. I mean,
Well, I think-
you as well.
Yeah. I know. I'm in trouble now too.
Oh, you got to be, bro. You're the BK apologist. You're in their backyard. You know what I mean? So they got to deal with you.
I know.
They got to deal with you.
I know. It's gonna get crazy right now, which is good. I mean, that's what it's about. I just feel like just Christians worldwide now, it's more imperative more than ever to be equipped now.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm sure many in that side of the fence are not too happy with what occurred, and they're going to come, you know, more vigorous and more aggressive. And us who proclaim Christ have to be better equipped. You know, our churches have to be better equipped. You know, because these guys are not going away anytime soon. You know, they are savvy, they are charismatic, they have mastered the use of social media, and they're out here. You know, and if you're not prepared and if you're vulnerable, they're going to come and take you out. You know, so we have to become more equipped for this. You know, your testimony, as amazing as it is not going to help here. You're going to have answers. People have questions. You got to have the answers.
Yeah. We got,
you know? And even if you don't know the answer at that time, go get the answers and then come back. You know.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, man, that's so real, man. And I can tell you just from you know, certain, you know, contacts that I have, you know, there's definitely a lot of anxiety and angst in their community. I mean, pretty much. I mean, no, seriously. I mean, look, man, the word is out, man. You know, I know some people, some reliable sources. I'll put it that way. You know what I'm saying? That you know, have informed me that the word is out from not just, you know, up north, but man, down to Atlanta and beyond, is that Jabari got washed. You know what I'm saying? That he took an L.
Oh, wow.
You know
wow, you said it. Wow.
Yeah, I'm not saying that that's coming from me. I'm just saying that that's the impression. That's the word on the street. I'm just saying that's the word on the street. You know what I mean? That Jabari got washed. Now, obviously, I do think that Vince Bantu came out on top. I certainly do. You know what I mean? But I'm talking about even from conscious community heads. You know what I'm saying, I'm not talking about just church folk. I'm saying from the conscious community, the word on the street is that Jabari took that L. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's just, you know, people can judge for themselves when they see the debate. You know what I mean? I think that it's one of those things where, you know, sometimes, you know, rappers can have like subliminals and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Where you don't catch it like the first time, but then you go back and watch it. But like,
double entendres, right?
Yeah. I mean, like some of the stuff that Bantu was saying is kind of like that. It was like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? Like when you play it back, you run that rewind that tape back. It's like, oh snap, that's kind of deep. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
there's going to be a lot of replay value.
A lot of replay value. You know what I'm saying? But to your point, I think, you know, with people having that impression, one thing I told you know, Chris Broussard after the event, and I've been saying this for a while now. You know what I'm saying, because I feel like with our community we need to get it, and is the fact that I use a basketball analogy. You know what I'm saying? Like once you get to a certain skill level, you know, let's say as a guard or something like that, you know, once you get to a certain skill level with your handle and all that kind of stuff, it becomes like not so much a question of whether you can get past the first guy, the first defender. You know what I'm saying? Like you're skillful enough to where you can probably get past him. What you have to begin thinking about is, what about when the defense collapses on you? It's the second or third defender that you have to really worry about. You know what I mean? The shot blocker or the guy who comes over for help defense. And so I kind of use that as an analogy that I think that's what's going on with respect to urban apologetics, is that these first guys that we're running into, I mean, we might be able to, you know, steamroll some guys. I only use that term because I'm sticking with the analogy, but you know, we might be able to get past them.
Right.
You know, might be able to get past them. But what's going to happen is guys are going to dig their heels in. We can't just expect people to just roll over necessarily. I mean, I do believe that the Lord will bring those who He calls. And but then there's going to be those who dig their heels in. and they're going to go search for what, whereas maybe before they were relying on pseudo scholarship, some of those people out of rebellion to God will go search and find more formidable arguments. You know what I'm saying? They're going to try to tighten their case up. And that's who we got to really prepare for. I'm saying that's who we really got to be thinking about. We have to constantly be sharpening our sword. It's not to say that you do it out of fear, but just out of understanding that you never take the other side for granted. We have to make sure that we're studying and equipping ourselves so that we can get out here and continue to be effective witnesses, man. So, one of the things I kind of came away from, like, with this debate is just the need to get back in the lab. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's everybody. The fact of the matter is, Bantu, I think you did a phenomenal job. We definitely have guys out here, like yourself, Chris Broussard, Eric Mason. We got guys, by the way, shout out to David Wood, who was in the building as well. I rode up there with David Wood and my man Marcus Webb, Vocab Malone. All those guys are out here getting it in, man. But we need all hands on deck, man. You know what I'm saying? Like this calling, that upon the church to bring souls in. This is a collective call. This is something that we're all supposed to be about, one way or the other. You know what I'm saying? You may not necessarily have to launch a YouTube page, but shoot, man, just equipping yourself to deal with a family member that may have questions or whatever. As a matter of fact, I don't know if I should say this or not, but I got a family member of mine who saw me on Instagram taking a photo with Brother Jabari, and I announced that that Jabari had agreed to come on my show. That my cousin, who is heavily into comedicism. You know what I'm saying? I hadn't heard from him in a little while, but he made sure he let me know that he saw that photo and he said something like Kim is truth or something like that. So I'm sure at the at the next, with Thanksgiving coming up, I'm sure if he comes through, that's going to be an interesting conversation.
That conversation's going to be lit now.
Yeah, it's going to be wild. It's going to be wild, but it's all love though. It's all love though. These are the kind of things that that we got to be prepared for.
I think now, like, for some reason I'm thinking of, if the debate was a Star Wars movie, it would be The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Because a lot of times Christianity is looked at, or should I say individual Christians are looked at people who don't have the answer or can't properly articulate the faith that they profess to have. Mm-hmm. Well, you saw a great example of someone who can, and it was done on a large platform for all to see. And I think that's going to inspire and empower those who are in the faith that, yes, there are answers. You might have to dig a little, but there's answers there, and you can use these answers not only to persuade people, because the Bible says, because we fear God, we persuade men, but to rest your own assurance.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of times I feel like apologetics is maybe more for the believer than for the unbeliever, because a lot of times, we have our bouts with doubt. It's like, is this belief proper? Am I being fooled? Is the opposition right by saying these things about my belief system? And when you do your research, and man, it just feels so much. There's more confident. It's what the Bible says faith really is. It's having a conviction based on what you know.
Yeah,
that's what biblical faith is. And apologetics, I feel like, can reinforce your faith so that when you have these discussions, even though you might not persuade the other person, you could stand tall on your square.
Right. And I think that's such an important point. We're going to get out of here in a second, but I definitely want to end on that because, I think you're right. Even if you don't persuade the other person, that doesn't mean that you don't have justification for what it is that you affirm, you know what I'm saying, as a Christian, as a believer, and so forth. And I think that even came out during the debate, because the thing is, a lot of times, and this is my little pet peeve, I think, with about apologetics online and social media. Sometimes I feel like, particularly on YouTube, I'm not going to call anybody out, but sometimes I feel like people give the impression that this is like a sitcom, where it's always happily ever after. Everybody has a good laugh after every apologetics encounter, you know what I'm saying? And that's just not true. There are times where you have a a butting of heads, with somebody. You give your facts, they try to, give their counter arguments, and they leave unconvinced. You know what I'm saying? But that doesn't mean that you haven't, stood your ground as a Christian and done what you needed to do. You know what I mean? And I think that's, and also it doesn't mean that, some of the conversations aren't challenging. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything, right. There's not an easy answer to everything. You know what I'm saying? I think sometimes it makes people feel awkward to hear somebody like myself say it, but it's true. I mean, like, we have to stop, thinking that you're just going to give a 10-second answer, you know what I'm saying, to everything, you know what I'm saying, and it's going to be all good. It's this, this life, there are some big questions. There's not a 5-second answer that's going to make people feel good about the problem of evil necessarily. You know what I'm saying? It's just, certain things require conversation. Certain things require time. Certain things require detail and breaking things down to help people understand, what the truth of the matter is. You know what I'm saying? It's not just quick, easy, boom, boom, boom. They say this, I say that. You know what I'm saying? It's just not like that. You know what I'm saying? And we have to, I think as a matter of preparing ourselves and preparing others with apologetics, I think we have to help people to see that every conversation is not going to be quick and easy. I'm saying sometimes it's going to be challenging. It's going to take some time, but that's okay. That's why the Bible calls us to be long suffering. We are to have patience and we are to be steadfast. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what that's all about, so, but yeah, man, any final thoughts, man, before we slide out of here, bro?
Man, I just can't listen, man. You know how many people inbox me about this video, bro?
Oh, yeah, likewise. Yeah,
People are thirsty. People are thirsty for this video. I can't wait for this video to drop, and we could do our breakdown. And I think it's going to be just such a great tool for the body. Just seeing this incredibly intelligent yet spiritual man of God, articulate the faith in a way that few have ever seen. And to have hope. I feel like Dr. Bantu gave so many believers hope that, yes, you can answer these questions. You can defend your faith when it comes to this type of situation. It can be done, and here's one way to do it. So I think that's great.
Yeah, I think that was awesome, man. And definitely. But he also didn't get off that stage before he preached that gospel, man, which I thought was dope. You know what I'm saying? People will see that in the video that it wasn't just information, but it was also a gospel presentation as a component of his debate points, which I thought was fantastic, man. And you're right, man. It gives people hope that, hey, we don't have to roll over and keep getting beat up, out here on social media. We got some firepower. We can get out here and make a difference, man, and help people see the light of the gospel. So with that said, man, where can people find you at, bro?
Once again, you can find me, BK Apologist, on YouTube. Twitter is, what's the Twitter handle? Oh, my gosh. You can look for BK Apologist on Twitter, on Instagram. I'm also on TikTok now. So BK Apologist at TikTok.
I don't even know what that is. What in the world is
TikTok? TikTok is like, how the IG videos, those 30-second and 60-second videos you put in IG stories? Yeah. Well, TikTok is nothing but that. You don't get to post memes, whatever. It's just videos.
Is it okay? Is that what's popping now?
Yeah, man. I got about almost 3,000 followers.
What?
I got like 3,000 followers. Yeah.
I'm about to hop on there, bro.
Crazy.
I never even heard of it. Okay, I'm so old, bro. That's a shame. I need to. I ain't know nothing about it. I sound like TikTok. What? Tic-tac-toe? What?
Yeah, TikTok. Bro. That's a new day. That's the new wave, definitely.
Okay.
But man, so you can find me there. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Doing stuff with my man Adam Coleman and his channel. So
definitely.
I'm also part of on Facebook. I'm part of the Woke Christian and Conscious Community Facebook page. I'm in there as well. So, I'm out here.
Out here. Yeah, man.
Definitely.
Yeah. definitely. So yeah, man. Shoot, man, I'm downloading TikTok as we speak, bro. I'm on my phone. Download that jank right now. But yeah, man. Definitely, y'all. Like, just as a reminder, stay tuned. You go to my YouTube page and subscribe if you haven't already. We're going to be me and Alfredo Valentin, and actually I want to bring in Nefernity and some of the other research team as well, if possible. To do this breakdown. We're going to be doing it in at least 3 videos. I'm saying 1 per round. Where we go over is Christianity the white man's religion? That round. Is Christianity a copy of pagan myths? We're going to go over that round, and then that last one about Christianity. Which one is better for the black community, Christianity or Kemet? So we're going to be breaking each of those down, different videos. We're going to be doing some on my channel, but also we're going to be doing some on the BK Apologetics channel as well. So you want to make sure you subscribe to his channel also, and follow us on that. That's where we're going to be doing our deep dive. I think that I wanted to definitely kind of just wet your whistle a little bit with this episode, but at the same time we want to make sure that as we're kind of combing through the actual debate, I want to be able to show clips of the debate and then break it down play by play, because I feel like there's so much in this debate that I feel like is going to be just great for apologists out there and for people to defend the faith to really get a hold of. So I want to go, kind of point by point, with some detail. But yeah, so with that said, man, love y'all, man. I'm going to get up out of here. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like I said, hit us up on iTunes as well. Give us some likes, share this video, share this, this link, if you enjoy it. I'm not even gonna say just enjoy it. Share it. You know what I'm saying? And just love y'all, man. If you feel so inclined, definitely hit me up on Patreon as well. Among other things, like I mentioned earlier, like we really are going to be expanding this ministry, man. I'm stepping out on some things that I believe God has called me to do, but I do need some help. So, if you feel so inclined, hit me up on Patreon as well, man. And I'll be explaining more of what this ministry is expanding to in our next episode. So love y'all, man. As always, love God, love people, and take care of the things that God blesses you with. And with that said, it's another episode in the books. Peace.